My name is Richard Watson. I was a former U.S. Army soldier attached to 2nd SCR in Vilseck, Germany. Um, Basically, my story starts back in 2006, September of 2006 to be exact. I was serving in Germany with 4th Squadron Nemesis Troop of 2nd SCR. I was found a couple different times, once in September, once in October of 2006, suffering from symptoms of multiple sclerosis. I was seen both times by the German hospital in Hamburg, Germany, through the neurologist department, and Dr. Broschenecker, which was my German neurologist, stated that I possibly might have the symptoms of multiple sclerosis. At that time, they gave me 2 separate doses of steroids and put me on convalescence leave with my unit. This was from September, October time until December. I was on light duty. And then I was transferred temporarily from my unit over to a JAG unit in Vilseck, Germany. From December, the end of December, beginning of January, until the end of June, beginning of July of 2007. At that time, my profile was dropped. Um, I had been um, diagnosed with optic nerve neuritis or neurosis, which is a damaged nerve in the left eye. I was sent back to my unit. My profile was dropped. My med board and MRB was dropped. And then I was sent to Iraq less than a month and a half after that in August of 2007. Um, Before I was sent, I was told that I would be working in the command tent, working the radios, and doing whatnot, and I wouldn't be on any combat patrols. That's the only way I agreed to be deployed. Once I got downrange, within a few days after getting to Iraq, I was taken out on combat patrols, which I told and I expressed to my CO and my first sergeant that I was not um, capable of doing because I wasn't physically fit. Because before I deployed, I failed 3 PT tests and I failed weight and tape, which, if you know about the Army, they mainly work on those processes. And I had no training before I left, even though I had trained before my first deployment. This was my second deployment. On one patrol, I was almost left on a rooftop. I had to be retrieved by my first sergeant and a couple other sergeants. The second time, I was left on a street corner. While I was left on the street corner, we were taking fire. I had to make my way back to the vehicle that was about almost a block down the road from where I was at. My last patrol, combat patrol, we had taken fire from a building. We went to investigate an explosion, deep buried IED exploded behind me, about 20 feet behind me, propelled me through the air. I'm not sure how far. I hit the wall and ended up on my knees. Another soldier helped me up to my feet. I couldn't hear anything. All I heard was ringing in my ears. Um, at the exact time of the explosion, I had turned my head to see where the other soldier was behind me, and that's when I saw the blast and saw all the shrapnel, and I felt myself lifting off the ground. And basically, I continued my combat patrol. All I saw was mouths moving, very dazed, very confused, very sick feeling to my stomach, very nauseous, actually. Um, then once we finished our patrol, there's 13 of us taken to the aid station, and during the aid station, we were tested for traumatic brain injury. I tested positive for traumatic brain injury. Um, I was put on light duty for 24 hours, then it was extended to 48, then it was totally extended to 10 days. On the 10th day, I was going to a porta-john, probably around about 9 10 o'clock at night. And next thing I know, I'm found unconscious on the ground, and have no recollection what happened after the porta-john. I was rushed to the aid station where they proceeded to treat me. Couldn't tell me what was going on. I was in and out of consciousness while they were talking to me. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up a day and a half later in the commander's office on a cot. And then the only vague things I remember during the aid station visit was they were yelling at me, "Where's my effing weapon?" is the exact words I remember. And I couldn't answer them because I didn't know. And from that instance, um, after I woke up the day and a half later, I was told that I wasn't able to carry my own weapon. They took my weapon away. For a few days after that, I was walking around the base with an escort. People were asking me, "Where's my weapon? Where did I leave my weapon?" Stuff like that. It got to the point where they ended up having to give me a weapon. Um, they took my firing pin out of my weapon, but told me that I wasn't allowed to carry a weapon or any ammunition because I had supposedly lost my weapon, which was found just maybe 10 minutes after they found me unconscious, due to the statements taken by the soldiers that had looked for my weapon and the um, two soldiers that had found me unconscious. So after that, basically, I was treated like crap by my command. My first sergeant took it upon himself to harass me daily, got other soldiers to harass me, um, not knowing at that time I was suffering from PTSD. And they kept telling me it's all in my head, there's nothing wrong with me. I told them about all the testing and everything that I had done by the German neurologists back in Germany, and they wouldn't hear anything of it, even though there's medical evidence and medical diagnosis of optic nerve neuritis, which is a telltale sign of multiple sclerosis. They sent me to mental health. I went through mental health. They diagnosed me with major depression and some other concussion disorder and stuff like that. While I was seeing them, it was coming up for leave or around Thanksgiving. They kept telling me I was going on leave, and then all of a sudden they dropped me off the leave list. So after that, they finally put me back on the leave list, and I left for leave in December. While I was stationed, or not stationed, but while I was in Iraq, I had found out that my wife at the time was seeing another soldier's husband while I was downrange. So I decided to take some of my leave in the States and some of my leave in Germany. So I went back to the States, went and visited with my family, and had a Christmas with them. And because of the weather, couldn't make it back to Germany right away. Kept getting canceled flights and everything. And I ended up going back to Germany just a few days before I had to go back to Iraq. I told my unit in Germany, the rear detachment, that I wasn't going to return unless I saw the German neurologist, because he told me if I had any other instances of blackouts or any other symptoms to come back and see him. He had no clue that I was deployed, and he wouldn't have deployed or let me deploy if he knew I was going to be deployed. So they wouldn't let me see the German neurologist, kept telling me that, they're going to, I'm missing movement and everything like that. And they ended up sending me to the mental health in Germany. The reason they did that was because my unit downrange requested me to be cleared by mental health. I believe I was supposed to return on the 23rd of December, and they didn't medically, or not medically, but mental health didn't clear me until the 29th of December. This date will come to be significant in a little while here. Just basically, I've been taken away from my family. I wasn't able to spend any time with my family except for just a few hours a day. while I was in Germany waiting to find out what was going to be my disposition. They basically put me in a barracks by myself, had me report every 3 hours on the dot and stuff like that, and it wasn't very pleasant. Went around the base, I had to be in uniform 24/7, which wasn't very pleasant because I ended up sleeping in my uniform because I had to keep, or trying to sleep, every 3 hours I had to report. Then my mom called after I had told her what was going on, and they changed it to every 6 hours. Then it became like 2 or 3 times a day. During this, I believe in January, I'm not exactly, can't remember really, but I know it's sometime in January, beginning of February, one of my sergeants got a call from me because I fell out of bed and felt very nauseous and not feeling too good. So he came over and he took me to the German hospital. I was admitted. I was there for almost a week, had a full battery of tests done on me. And then on the last day before I was released, a JAG officer and my rear detachment commander came into my room and charged me with missing movement, which totally put a damper on getting my treatment done because they pulled me, they had me discharged and out of the hospital, and then wouldn't let me see the German neurologist after that. So basically, I sat there for a few weeks, and then they told me that I was going to be court-martialed, a general court-martial, and I pleaded with them not to give me a general court-martial because I didn't believe that I did anything wrong. Even though I missed movement for good reason because of my illness. Even though it wasn't fully diagnosed, I did have all the symptoms, and I had optic nerve neuritis of my left eye, which makes me legally blind from my vision. And after that, they kept telling me they were going to give me a different court martial. They told me a summary, then a special court martial, and kept switching it back and forth. Went on for several months that way. All this time, I was suffering from PTSD and other, depression and stuff like that because, my ex-wife or wife at the time kept calling the military police, starting arguments with me, and they would come and remove me, and I wouldn't be able to see my family for 72 hours. I wasn't allowed to take anything from my house. All I had was my uniform and one set of civilian clothes, which I couldn't wear, and I had no money. I was paying all the bills in Germany for the house that we had on the base, cell phone bills, everything was in my name, so I had to pay everything. Also had to pay for all my meals at the chow hall because I was not considered a single soldier, even though I was living in the barracks. So technically I was living on about $200 a month, which is not a great deal of money when you got to pay for 3 meals a day and other expenses. And I was just totally depressed. I tried to kill myself twice in Germany. Forgot to say that I tried to kill myself at least twice in Iraq. I was just a total mess, a disaster. And I tried to plead with the Army to get me the medical help that I needed. They kept refusing, and all they wanted to do was court-martial me and throw me in jail in Mannheim. That's their main goal. They didn't care about my health or anything. So basically, I did everything I could. They finally had a court-martial for me, which was I believe it was a special court-martial in front of a officer from another unit, and I was able to present everything that in my defense, but they didn't take any of that into consideration. All they cared about that I got discharged because I missed movement. I went to Mannheim on May 5th, I believe, or May 2nd of 2008. I was in there for 25 days, and I was discharged on July 11th of 2008. I came home. I had to file for unemployment. which wasn't granted right away because I had a other than honorable discharge. I filed with the